All right, hey friends, it's Adam Chahl here, Oakwyn Realty, the Place Real Estate team. I'm joined today by mortgage titan Andy Hill from the Vancouver mortgage industry. Andy, thanks so much for joining us. He's going to chat with us a little bit about mortgage rates, what we're going to see in the next little while. Andy, amazing to have you on. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me. Yeah,
Tell us a
excited to
bit
be
about
here.
your business. What do you do? How long in the business? And who do you typically help?
Yeah, mortgage broker in the Vancouver market. Also work in Alberta and Ontario, but been in the business for about 10 years now. Uh, just, yeah, really like to help homeowners that either have a mortgage or looking to get a mortgage. Really waited in the low rate space for a long time. So in terms of finding those lowest rates, that's really one of my specialties.
Awesome. Andy, a lot of my clients, the conversations we've been having over the last 2 weeks have involved mortgages and specifically mortgage rates, which is why I wanted to bring your expertise on with this. Number one question, when are we going to see rate cuts?
Well, this last week on Wednesday, we saw the Bank of Canada open the door to a June rate cut. Now, there's a couple of caveats to that, given that our data has to continue to show positive signs that inflation has normalized. They have been getting that over the past couple months. And as long as that stays stable in the April data release, which is April 16th, and the May data release, the Bank of Canada will be able to cut mortgage rates. Well, they'll be able to cut the overnight lending rate, which will then have an impact on the variable rate mortgage in June.
Right. Okay. And what other data are they looking at? Is it just that data you mentioned? Like, what are they looking at to make this decision?
The biggest thing for the Bank of Canada is something called the trimmed CPI and the month over month change of that trimmed and CPI. And the trimmed CPI just it what it does is it takes out the outliers. And so funnily enough, mortgage interest costs have been very high for consumers. That gets stripped out of the trimmed CPI number that they're looking at, as well as like rental, like the amount people are paying for rent. That actually gets included. So what it does is it kind of pulls out the outliers and just looks at like the core mean of things that are kind of, and that just it allows them to determine if inflation is bubbling up like across the board or not. That number has, been coming down, even though mortgage interest costs are at all-time highs and rent for consumers is at all-time highs. That those things have been coming down slowly. So, it looks good the next couple months for things to show that it's normalized.
So has their language shifted in this past press release in terms of what they're expecting? I mean, it seems to be like there's a bit more optimism of the rate cut, like you said.
Yeah, they specifically said that we like what we see, but we need to see it for longer. And so as long as over the next kind of uh two data releases for that CPI number that it does come out in line, they will have enough data, they will have seen it long enough. One of in the Q&A session where reporters ask the Tiff Macklem about what's happened and what his sentiments are outside of the report they release was, is a June rate cut in the realm of possibility? And his direct answer was yes. And he explained that if those things happen over the next couple of months, they will be able to normalize policy, which is extremely encouraging.
Understood. Now, we saw from the real estate side, March was a slow month in terms of number of sales, right? And probably part of that is people potentially waiting for this rate cut to happen. Now, a lot of our smart buyers are actually seeing this as an opportunity while we're seeing, lower number of sales and we don't have that rush that we're expecting when those rates go down. So what are you advising our clients right now? Obviously, we can't give any specific advice, but what are you generally suggesting people do that are thinking, well, should I wait till June, July time, or should I look at buying now in terms of a rate? What are you advising generally in that
Yeah.
regard?
Well, one of the nice things is how mortgages are priced. So on the variable rate mortgage side, when a rate cut happens, that will translate into be it a lower payment or a lower principal interest split, depending on the type of variable rate you chose.
Mhm.
But on the fixed rate mortgage side, that's all being priced based on sentiment, and that's all being priced very that's all being priced daily, effectively. Fixed rates are going to change less than daily, but the way in which they're priced is traded in the market daily. And so, really since about September, we've peaked on fixed rates, and there's been a pretty consistent downtrend there. We're starting to see the next leg of that kind of downtrend in fixed rates happening. Last week was a bit of a blip in that, given that there was some US data that kind of fueled our market a little higher.
Hmm.
But as long as this week we see that Canadian CPI data come in positive, which would be kind of negative in the sense that things are coming down, our fixed rates will continue to precipitate lower. So, a 3-year fixed rate today is really well priced at some of the bigger bank institutions. We're seeing that at around 5.1%. We're seeing high ratio 3% fixed at, around 4.79% this week. So there are some very attractive rates, whereas on a variable rate, you might be paying something like 6.2%. So quite a bit higher of a premium to kind of take that variable rate on today. But you can kind of still get a lower rate and get into the market, if you're willing to look at outside of that variable rate product.
Right. So from what I understand, you saying those fixed rates, they're baking in the fact that the rates are going to be lower, say 6 months from now. So it's kind of like the stock market. They're almost anticipating that's going to happen. So they're saying, okay, well, let's cut those rates now on the fixed side.
Certainly.
And then obviously, they know as the bank, it's going to be lower, come June, July, or maybe into the fall as well. Excellent.
Definitely.
Awesome. So, Andy, how do people get in touch with you if they haven't already connected with you? What's the best way to reach out, get either a second opinion on their refinance or on the purchase they may be looking for 2024?
Yeah, you can book a meeting in my calendar on www.andyhill.ca. You can shoot me an email, andy@andyhill.ca, or feel free to give me a phone call at 604-398-8177.
Awesome, Andy. Thanks so much. And I hope we can make this a bit more of a regular fixture on our updates for our clients as well. So thanks so much for joining us today. Appreciate your time.
Very much so. Lots of change in the calendar. So exciting.
Chat to you guys soon.